had to cut this bracket above the gas pedal and bend it out of the way. I don't know what the heck it does, but it's a beautiful reinforced bracket. Where is it? Reinforced bracket, welded on. I don't know what it does, but anyways, I cut it out of the way and I dragged this motor out of here. There's the new motor. Only $50 for a rebuilt motor, but it's got this plate that makes it twice as big, like the starter on the BMW that I'll figure out where I put the starter one day. I brought this van back from Colorado 3 or 4 years ago, and I put a Harley in the back of it that I still haven't registered because they want to charge me sales tax. I put these tie downs in. Where did I put them? Right there, and I bolted steel plates underneath. So it's thick steel underneath. It took me all day, and then I took his spare tire carrier, which used to be at the back because this is a passenger van. He wanted a window van, and the work trucks have no windows, and they're always beat up. So I got him a passenger van, and he hardly drives it. I knew it. He puts 1,000 miles on a year at the most. The guy that I bought it from, a dealer, typical dealer, bought it at the auction, had a differential noise. He didn't tell me. How do you get this door open? I'll show you something. I opened the door, and the door is falling off the hinge. The hinge was busted off. I had to weld it, and let me tell you, it was quite the struggle to weld that. So I just welded it up, and I welded washers to the tin. It was all cracked. And then I just painted it black and put fluid film. Uh-oh. The dealer said, "Oh, I never even opened that door. I didn't know it was worn." I said, "Well, how'd you get a picture with the doors open then?" Because I saw this rubber was torn. "Oh, I must have forgotten about it." Such liars. And this door was opening perfectly, but one of these hinges, the pin is busted. I thought I changed it. I guess I got a spare hinge and I never changed it. Anyhow, he doesn't drive it in the winter. I rust-proofed it, but he doesn't drive it in the winter. He just uses it for demolition and carrying stuff to the dump. Twigs and things, and he's sloppy. Got sockets floating around all over the place. Oops. Yeah, I bolted those tie downs really well. I put steel plates. Can't believe this camera is working. I deleted a bunch of videos. I put steel plates. See that? There's a steel plate there. And another one there. And I rust-proofed the heck out of it with fluid film. Good stuff. Put Michelin tires on it. And I drove it back from Colorado to Florida, which is a couple thousand miles. Then I drove it, got the motorcycle tied down. Boy, it was a tight squeeze. Had to let the air to the tire, and I didn't want to rip out that air conditioning. I had it working. I got the air conditioning working. I didn't want to tear it out. It just squeezed underneath. I had to crank down the forks with a tie strap. It took me all day to tie it down. Blah, blah, blah. I lifted up the seat with these spacers. That's a double stud thing, and it took me all day to put these things in also to lift the seat up so I could be more comfortable when I drove. And he says, "How can this seat so reclined?" I said, "Just get used to it." I did this one too for Mrs. CW. What a bitch. And one of the wing nuts is missing. I got the air conditioning working. I think when I brought it back, it had 107,000 miles. Now it's got 114, 7,000 miles, and I drove it 4 or 5. So it's 300 miles due south from Las Vegas to Palm Springs, and I'll be there the last week of October. I'm going to the Corvair show on the 27th, I think, and we'll be leaving Monday or Tuesday in whatever I buy. And I'm working on the Corvair. I've got to take this control arm off, but it's a big job, and fix that bushing. It slipped out of the shell. You should only see a 1/4 inch of that rubber. I've got the front bumper to put back on, so I had a friend over here, but he's doing some demolition around the block. I had him shine up the front. I'll put the bumper back on and work on this thing a little bit. So here's my wiper motor. La-da-da-da-da. Work, 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 work. Yeah, homeless? Just bring some sandwiches. You can feed them. They're harmless. They're well drugged. Okay, I gotta get this motor back in. I'm getting paid for a change. Pay the rent. It's due. Overdue.